Yeah, I don't know how to, oh.
Try voice call.
Okay, it's Monica. I'm online a couple minutes early. Okay, you little busy beavers out there, make sure that you are hitting *6 if you've got background noise. I'd love to participate. And you can always hit *6 to come back on the call. Any quick questions? We're going to get started here in about 30 seconds.
Hi, Monica. This is Vicki from the Johns Family team in Overland Park. How are you?
I'm fine. Vicki, how are you? What's going on? How do I help you real quick?
Well, I just was checking on how the agent call went last week.
Well, I think it went excellent. I mean, they got a earful about what their job was and what your job was. So my question to you is, how'd your agent do?
Well, he did good because he was all excited about the call, and I told him, I said, well, that's the call we got last week, and I'd already started formatting the forms and different things that we had talked about for weekly, daily, and monthly meetings and tracking and all that. So we really got on fire with it.
Yeah, and then they got a list of, escrow lists and the meetings, the stuff that they should be getting on Friday to kind of keep them asking you 4,000 of the same question over and over in different variations. Yeah. So thank you for that. We'll get started on that. So Stephanie, let's rock this call out, and we'll get started and get into some of the good stuff.
Sounds great. Good morning, everyone. This is Stephanie. I'm your Fast Track coordinator, and I'm going to make a few announcements before we get started today, and I hand you back over to Coach Monica. We do ask that you help keep the noise levels to a minimum. Please, if you're not interacting on the call, make sure your line is muted. No matter how quiet you try to be, we can still hear you. So you can use the mute button on your phone if you have one, or you can hit *6 to mute and *6 to unmute when you want to ask a question or you have comments. If you're on a cell phone or you have us on speaker, please keep yourself muted, as it does make an extremely loud echo for us. Please don't put us on hold, otherwise we'll be listening to your hold music. Also, a heads up, we can see everyone's line that is dialed into this call and how much feedback is coming from it. If you forget to mute yourself and you're creating too much feedback, I will mute you. I prefer not to, as once you're muted from my side, you're muted for the rest of the call and you're unable to interact or ask any questions. Okay, Monica, they're all yours.
Thank you, world's greatest assistant and the mute queen. So watch out. She's fast on the draw on that mute, so pay attention. Hey, gang, it's the agents that give us the most trouble. The agent calls are absolutely out of the wild, wild west. You can't imagine the noise and the craziness that goes on. So, one, I appreciate you for listening, and two, you're respectful of everyone on this call. So imagine that. All right. So here's our objectives today. We're going to get 10 tips for developing your job description. And yeah, that's great. You got one when you came, or, oh, you didn't get one. But you've got to have a job description. And I'm going to make it clear with some examples and make it easy. You're going to have a blueprint that you can just use and not have to reinvent the wheel. And then we're going to go over what an agent wants in the perfect assistant. All right. Uh-oh. *6 to mute, *6 to unmute. Here comes the mute queen. She's going to get you. All right. No more background noise. Quit building boxes or whatever you're doing. All right. So to page 3. So here, hopefully you guys are looking at these warm-up questions. And, let me sidetrack here on a little housekeeping. If you have questions, you've got to go to MAPS Base Camp, and Eric will handle those. I'm not the person to ask about where's this recording or where's that. I have no clue. I do the calls. That's what I do. So Base Camp is where you go for that. And, oh, by the way, all the calls are recorded. They will be there for 6 months after the class, and then they're wiped off. So you've got 6 months to go back and listen to them. So if you wanted to hear what I said to the agents on call 4, you're welcome to go back and listen to those. All right. So do you have a job description? Is it posted? Well, some of you say, no, it's not posted. Does it really need to be? No, but I've seen them in an office where the job description is posted in a nice black frame on the wall. Gosh, it looks good. Have you ever updated your job description since you've been there? Because if you got hired a month ago or you got hired, 11 years ago, your job description has changed. So it's always good to review those, and I'll give you the system for that. Has it changed since you were hired? Obviously the answer would be, a lot of you would say yes, I'm sure you would. And do you know your agent's job description? Well, isn't that interesting? Okay, that's like the London bells or the church bells. Okay, time for church, I guess. Okay, so do you know your agent's job description? So we're going to get more involved into that. And, the key thing, and I'm going to go through that with you, but you really have to know what their job description is, and then you could post theirs, and I'm going to give you that information. So on page 3, tips for developing, or I'm sorry, page 4, tips for developing and writing the perfect job description. All right. So number 1, get a yellow pad. Get a yellow pad. Put it by the side of your desk. Number 2, write down everything you do for 1 week. Because some things you do on a Tuesday, you don't do every day. Some things you do on a Friday, you don't do every day. Some things you do once a month, but you don't do every day. But those things have to be included in your job description. So if you're in charge of supplies, or you're in charge of marketing, or you're in charge of getting the email out, all of these things have to go into a schedule. And then number 3, once you've written everything out, you go back and you categorize. So what I usually say is you take a yellow, highlighter, and that regards to listings. Take a blue highlighter, that regards to sellers. So this regards to daily activities, use a pink highlighter. So you can easily go back without making a huge mess and then highlight these things, all right? So you got number 3 is categorize, and number 4, organize in a logical order. Organize in a logical order. And then 5, make specific statements about what you do, but without lengthy, but it's got to be common sense. And so you're going to see, so make specific statements is what goes in number 5 for my little analyticals. You're going, what is she talking about? And then I'm going to give you examples coming up. Number 6, don't include, out-of-date activities. So you've got to go back and look at some of these things that you had in your job description that are no longer things that you do. Out-of-date activities, just off the top of my mind, you don't fax anything anymore. That's never done. So get out those out-of-date things. And then 7, don't list unreasonable expectations or jobs that you haven't done but you think you should be doing. This is a valid job description of currently what you're doing. It's not a wish list. So number 7, don't list unreasonable expectations. 8, don't list excessive detail. It's bullet points. It's not excessive detail. And not excessive detail goes in your policy and procedures manual under those different job descriptions, those different jobs. No abbreviation or jargon. So you can't abbreviate. And, Keller Williams, that's just another language when you join the Keller Williams system from learning all the different things, RD, TL, OP. It's like, what? So, don't use abbreviations in most cases. And then number 10, have the agent review it. Have the agent review it. All right. So turn the page to page 5. This is a fun session because all we're going to do is, talk about the job and some of the ways to set up the job. Now, here's an FYI before I go through a lot of this stuff here. If you will take note on something with me, and that is that when you have a detailed job description, there's a couple of things that happen. Your agent can see your value. That's why I like them posted. Your agent will see your value. Not only will they see your value, then the agent also can see what the expectations are and obviously what you're doing. Now, if there comes a time when your agent keeps adding stuff to you and you've got a detailed job description, you go, great, I understand you want me to do that. Being honest with you, I may need to eliminate a couple of things in order to incorporate that in there. At least your job description will give you validation to eliminate things or transfer things or delegate to someone else or eliminate. So the things that happen here, it validates who you are in your position, and it's a clear picture of who you are, what you do, and it's like, believe it or not, I'll see agents and they go, oh, my assistant's doing so great. She gets a lot done. I just don't know what he or she's doing all day long. Well, that shouldn't be a mystery. So if you look on page 5, the goals, to help the agent increase business, to help the agent decrease expenses. That's always a goal, always to be a great assistant. Look at ways to cut cost, to assist the agent in developing clients for life. The most valuable thing you can do is develop clients for life. So circle that one. Repeat and referral business is the most profitable part of business. So make a note that you understand that. Repeat and referral business is the most profitable. And then your job is to keep the agent on track. You're to monitor the goals, and you're to handle all administrative duties. To me, that's incoming phone calls. That's all the files. That's all the paperwork. Those are administrative duties. An agent should not handle any administrative duties. If you have a control freak and you have a control monster that's handling administrative duties with you, then this is where you start to take more and more control away from them so that they can do their job description, which is coming up. Daily must. Receive agent's daily schedule, handle all incoming calls, incoming mails, emails, fill out daily meeting form. It's a great assistant that started the call and said that they're incorporating some of those. Their agent's hair was on fire. They were excited about last week's call. Communicate with the agent. Go through each active file folder. So let me stop right there. So as we get into it, we get into the listings and the pendings, closings, etc. My thought process of doing this for 33 years, and, correct me if you think, but you won't win. So here's the thought process. If you're in charge of listings, you pull out every listing in your drawer and you put it on your desk every single morning. And you open up that file folder and you look at it every single morning. Now, some of you say, well, we have 50, 60 listings. Okay. Common sense, divide it up into 2 days, so every other day, or divide it up into 3 days. Every third day you look at Section 1, Section 2, Section 3. So if you have 60 listings, then you're going to look at 20 a day. The next day, the second 20. Section 3, the third 20. So that they're getting touched at least every other day. The reason I ask you to open it up, look at the checklist, see what needs to be done, and you can look at it in 20 seconds or less and go, okay, this file's good. Put it back in the drawer. Oh, this file, whoa, I got to do this. Oh, I got to call them. Oh, it's time for me to talk to them about this. Or I need to let them know that. So if you touch a file every single day, stuff happens correctly. If you don't have a system to open up that file every day or every other day, you're going to have challenges. You're going to let things slip through the cracks, not because you want to, but because you juggle so much. So go through each active file. The same thing on a pending file. We currently have right now, I think it's around 20 pendings, which is light for us. We usually carry 35, so we got some work to do on my team. But every day, my closing coordinator touches every single file every day. He cannot leave the office unless Tony has touched every file every day. Okay, responsibilities. Handle all incoming phone calls. You should absolutely know how to do that. And in our session 1, 2, and 3, that was about communicating, handling the calls, handling the baby with the dirty diaper. Now, I'm not going to read through all of these because it would take probably, 4 hours. But I want you to look at what the responsibilities are. Look at the next page, pre-listing clients, what needs to be done on the pre-list. Listing clients, these are the things that need to be done here. When an offer is received, after closing, buyer clients. So when you look at this, and you look at knowledge of the following programs, eEdge, Internet, QuickBooks, MLS, Excel. And so what I'm suggesting to you is that if you look at this sample and you start checking off some of the things you do, or it'll trigger something else that you do, this is what you keep next to your yellow pad building your job description. Okay, job description sample number 2. Here's goals, contact management. So this particular job description goes through a lot more detail. And it's all fine. And so I'm just giving you a couple examples that you can use as a blueprint and, steal from it, borrow from it, take whatever, and use in your own job description. If you go over to page 11, here's the closing management. Schedule closings, convenient time for client. So some of this, I would reword it differently, but it gives you the thing to start. This one says tethering to client. I never understand the tethering. I know what tethering is, but, it just was a funny word. And so if you look at example number 3 on page 14, this particular one took parts of 2 and 3 and put them together. So I'm just showing you that, if you look at this, so for example on page 18, here's your marketing and open houses and what they do. Here's the listing clients. Here's the negotiating, after close, after offer is received again. So you can put these two together. The challenge is that you have to make sure, we're on page number 20 where it says inventory, lockboxes, signs. So on inventory, I'd say be in charge of lockboxes and keep track of all of them. So, we have probably 50 or 60 lockboxes, and they run $100 to $120 each. So there's a lot of money in our lockboxes. And when we don't pick up lockboxes, shame on us. Signs, brochure boxes, keeping track of all of that, open house signs and inventory. So these things, and even though you say, well, that's silly, of course I do that, but this is where some real money can be lost, and this is where, instead of replacing all these open house signs, is keeping track of them. So when an agent from our office a buyer agent takes out 5 open house signs, it's smart for us to have a check-in and check-out system so they don't get left in a car, and all of a sudden someone needs open house signs and they're all gone. I mean, that's just crazy. So hopefully that'll help you build one. Now, what I've never got anyone to do, and I'm going to ask you guys because I know this is an exceptional group, is send me your job description. I will be happy to critique it. Plus, I'm looking for some new and creative ideas from some of you that have built job descriptions, and let's look at them, and I'll critique them. I can tell you yay or nay on them really quickly and what I would do to improve them. But Monica at Heller Team with an H, Monica at HellerTeam.com. So I'd love to see you send me one. So if you have one currently, look at it, revamp it, and then if you notice on each one of these job descriptions, I have the date of that, so you know when you last did it, and I have the employee, and I have the agent's name on that. So before I go on any further, any questions about that job description? Okay, send me one. See if you dare. I'd love to see it. All right. What is wrong with this job description on page 21? Oh, my gosh. So hopefully you can see that this is just D-U-M-B, dumb. There's a sentence in here. Okay, it's like the second sentence. In general, responsible for running the office in areas such as maintaining supplies, printed material, computer maintenance, updating, troubleshooting, key contact for updates, changes and questions regarding external office procedures as specified by office manager in the corporate office, and assistant payroll records, and various other duties. Don't you love that? And various other duties? This thing is crazier than crazy. So you have to, this is no job description. This is craziness. So must be knowledgeable of the following computer programs. Swell, necessary skill up. But this is not a job description. How can you easily read this? So I always show the wrong one and the right one. Now, your agents know that you need to be building a job description if you don't have one. So page 22, 23 are just basically some blanks that you can fill in. And obviously yours is going to be longer than this, but it's just a way to get started. So in your policy and procedures manual, you could have a tab that says job descriptions, sample job descriptions. Put these in here with the sample blank, and then when it comes time to specific job descriptions in your office policy and procedures, you could have, listing manager job description, sales manager job description. You could have closing coordinator job description, or you could just have assistant job description if there's one assistant. You're the assistant on a team and there's just one of you, then that's great. But then as you hire someone, you start breaking your job description down, taking stuff off of your job description and moving it to the second job description. So all this is a great system. All right. So let's talk about the agent's job description. Okay. So sometimes agents don't like me to tell on this because then they're not doing their job. So my personal favorite is if you took this job description and you posted it on the wall where they prospect or lead generate or where they do their business, where they sit, it kind of reminds them what their day should look like. So number one, they lead generate. An agent should have a specific time that they lead generate. It should be in the morning. So basically, for a lot of you, you know this, and so it's just important to know what they should be doing. Because if they're working on files in the morning with you, they're not lead generating, they're not moving the business forward. They're doing old business, okay? Number two is they do lead follow-up. And lead follow-up has to be scheduled every morning. And when we get into some of the prospecting systems and lead follow-up, I'll give you some very specific things that you can do as a great assistant. So number two is lead follow-up. Number three is they go on appointments. Now, you're looking at this list, and are there things that you could be helpful with? Yes, you can help get numbers together for lead generation, lead follow-up. When it comes time to going on appointments, they should not be putting a pre-list package together. They should not be confirming the appointment. You should. So there are integral things that you kind of come back in and dovetail on. However, they need to physically go on the appointment. And then the next one you want to write down is they write contracts. They write contracts. They write buyer contracts, sales contracts, listing contracts. They write contracts. And then the last one is they negotiate. They negotiate. Every single one of those items tells you it's a great salesperson. Every single one of those items should have a dollar sign next to them. They all generate money. Real estate salespeople are commission salespeople. Just because they showed up today doesn't mean they're going to get paid unless they do these activities. Now, the reality is, if you know the 80-20 rule, they should be doing this 20% of the day. I don't agree with that. I think they should do this 80% of the day. Because if they're doing this 80% of the day, they have huge volume. They are highly productive. They are highly successful. So when you look at the agent's schedule, which I will tell you about coming up in a future session, they need to be doing these activities, and their morning has to be guarded ferociously to do lead generating and to do lead follow-up. So just giving you insight onto what your agent should be doing. So when you go back and you look at the job descriptions and the goals is to keep the agent on track, now you know what it's going to take to have a really successful agent, And the value that you bring is to help keep that agent on track, which will go through some things coming up. All right? Okay. Now, turn the page, but put their job description together. Put it on the wall for them. What a great idea, huh? All right, so be the perfect executive assistant. All right. So I'm going to take a little time on this because, you know, there's a million things that some agents will say that they really think is important, but I've got, I think, 10 things here, and we can go through a bunch more, obviously. But the number one thing that I'm going to have you write down is a positive attitude, okay? A positive attitude. And so let me open this up for discussion. Why do you think a positive attitude would be number one? Anyone?
To keep our agents positive.
Hi, this is Stacy at the Collins Group in San Antonio.
Okay, what do you say, Stacy?
I think everybody in the office feeds off of your energy and assistant's energy.
I agree. Okay, so both of you are right. The agent, okay, so if you were a commission salesperson and every single day you've got to generate positive, great activities. If you walk in and your assistant says to you, oh, I can't believe this day already. It's only 9:30. This is just awful. We have this deal falling apart, and oh, this guy's mad, and oh, this buyer agent, they're so stupid, and they don't understand how to process this. Oh, my gosh, I'm just going to shoot myself in the head. Oh, this is just awful, 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 awful. How does that set the tone for the day? Not good, right? Everybody there?
Right.
Right. Okay, good. All right. Right, good. All right. So you've got to be the calm in the eye of the storm. You're the positive person. It's showtime. You know, sometimes agents will walk in and they won't even say good morning to you. Well, then it's your job to say, hey, good morning. How are you today? It's going to be a great day. You set the tone for the office. It's showtime. You know, if you got a high C personality, they're not going to walk in and exactly be over the top. If you work for a high I, they'll be excited. They'll have some energy. But it's you. You put a big smile on your face and say, good morning. How are you today? It's going to be a great day. Wow, do agents love that. Now, if that's not your style because you're a high C, too bad. Get some versatility because you're going to set the tone, which was correct from Miss San Antonio. You set the tone for the entire office sometimes. And if you're buried and glum and hemming and hawing, oh, I can't believe this happened. Oh, my gosh, these people are crazy. Then you're going to pass that on like a cancer in the office. Okay? All right. Number 2, great communicator. All right, great communicator. And I suppose that would mean, what do you think? For you communicating with the agent, which we talked about, you communicating with buyers and sellers, anticipating needs, giving people explanation. If you remember, call, email, call and tell them what you're doing, email them what you're doing, and then call them to say, did they get the information? Great communicator. Telling your agent, you know, what you accomplished each week. So your agent was given what I call the Friday form, and you can do whatever you want, 411s, you know, it doesn't matter. In my office, we do a Friday form. Give me the top 4 things that you accomplished this week. What was the week high? What was the week low? Takes 5 minutes or less. But I want to know what they did to move business forward. Now, that's communicating. Picking up those files, your listing files every day, and opening up those files and having a specific time where you talk to those sellers every single week. That's a great communicator. All right? If you don't communicate, if you have a lot of incoming calls from your sellers and buyers and listings and pendings and closings, etc., then you're not a great communicator. You're not making enough proactive conversations, a proactive communication to stop those calls. If they're coming in, you're not talking enough. All right. Number 3, write down meticulous and organized files. Okay. Somebody jump in here and help me. What does that mean to you?
That means the files that if you're out for the day or not available at the moment, someone else can go in that file and know exactly where you are in that file, know where to find everything, and can answer questions from the seller or buyer for that matter.
Great answer.
Really ask you.
Great answer. So I call it bulletproof. And then I also go /vacation proof. So if you're out of town or you get sick that day, somebody can jump in and take it over. So bulletproof, vacation-proof, meticulous, and organized files. Now, I can go on and on about that. So you're going to get a system that's called the classification file folder. You're going to get checklists. You know, you don't, if, you know, I'm sure you guys know this, but when you get on a plane, the pilot follows the checklist. And when a plane, unfortunately, goes down, sometimes you hear on the news that, oh, the pilot forgot to follow the checklist and didn't put the flaps down, so they crashed. Or the pilot didn't check this. You ever been in a plane and you see look outside, there's a pilot walking around the plane? They're walking around doing a double check, triple check, quadruple check that things look in order, that, you know, everything's sealed up where the gas was. Things are, you know, look like they're in good working order. They check stuff out. If they don't do that checklist, you know, would you feel as safe as you should? We assume they're following the checklist. Now, some of these men have flown thousands and thousands, and women have flown thousands and thousands of hours. They know it like riding a bike. But, again, we want them to follow the checklist because sometimes things can be left for chance. That's why, you know, the meticulous files, that's why it's so important to follow the checklist. So it's bulletproof and it's vacation proof. All right? Number 4, MMFI, make me feel important, /customer service. So what do you think the client is expecting for their 6%?
Hello, how you doing? This is Kamisha from Houston on the Mark Gonzalez team. And I wrote, hi, the clients want us to be available. Every time they make a phone call, they want somebody to answer that phone. Every time they have a question, they want us to have an answer for them, because if they can't get a hold of the agent, then we're the next best thing to the agent.
I totally agree with that. You know, and so that goes back to when we talked about communication, that I don't like the phone to ring more than 3 times. I go crazy. I want those phones picked up all the time. Now, if you're one assistant, obviously there's going to be a time where you need to go to lunch and, you know, it's got to roll into voicemail. However, returning that call immediately saying, thank you for calling. I apologize. I was on my lunch break. You're my first call. I wanted to make sure I got back to you immediately. Here's the answer you're looking for. So that's easily handled. So, but having voicemail sit there, you know, and nothing happened. So Stephanie came into my office yesterday. We've got a new phone system, and they goofed it up. I'm sure Stephanie's got it fixed now. And there were 25 voicemails in my voicemail box that belonged to Deborah, who's our short sale manager, does some short sales in her listing stuff. And they didn't get answered. She didn't know they were there. I didn't know they were there because no one puts a voicemail into my voicemail box. That's my rule. I don't get voicemails because I'm not going to clean them out. So people take messages for me, or they deal with the problem or the challenge or the question. So I don't have voicemails going to my voicemail. So with that said, you know, you're absolutely right. The client wants immediate attention. So going back to communication again, bringing up, you know, call 1, 2, and 3, I said to you, if a voicemail does happen overnight, the first thing you do is take care of the client's needs who left you a message or sent you an email needing something. The client customer service comes first. So excellent customer service, MMFI. That's what an agent is looking for in the perfect assistant. All right? Number 5, I wrote down meet deadlines. Why does an agent want you to meet deadlines?
Hello, it's Kamisa again, and
Good.
meeting deadlines.
Kamisa, it's your call today.
Sorry.
No, I like it.
To an agent, everything is top priority. Even though it may not be an income-producing activity, it's still top priority. So if you have deadlines and you're meeting them, they stop asking you.
Right. Let me ask you, Kamisa, what about when a, and I'm not sure you handled this, but let's say that on an escrow pending, that there are deadlines about the inspections, there are deadlines about the loan approval. Why does the agent want those deadlines met and not moved?
Because they cost money. It could delay the escrow. It could cause, if there's an issue and something's not executed, it could cause a buyer or seller to have to terminate the contract.
There you go. Those are the 2 reasons. 1, it causes the agent not to get paid. They are commission salespeople. The second thing that happens, and you're absolutely right, is that when deadlines start moving, dates start moving, people start to wiggle. They start to second guess themselves. Well, if that's happening, maybe that's a sign we shouldn't buy it. Maybe that's a sign we shouldn't sell it. Well, this is harder than I thought. Maybe this is just not the right house for us. So people start to do the waffle dance, and we don't like the waffle dance. All right. Number 6, be a problem solver / baby with the dirty diaper. Number 6, be a problem solver, dirty diaper. Okay. Someone comment on that for me, please, about being a problem solver.
Hello, this is Sandy from Keller Williams in Tulsa.
Great, Sandy in Tulsa. Good. What do you think I mean by being a problem solver?
Well, you need to take things and take control of them. You can't continue to run to your agent and have them try and solve them for you. Otherwise, they might as well just do the job themselves. They're too busy to do stuff like that. That's what they rely on you for, is to think on your feet and be able to help the clients and make them feel confident that you know what you're doing.
How about what you're saying is absolutely correct, and what you're saying is just own it. Own it. It's part of your job description. Be a problem solver. And on none of those job descriptions did I have that there, but I think that would be a great thing to put in there. Be a problem solver. What an agent hates is if somebody said to them, and no one on this call would do this, but I've known of assistants who have done this where they go, oh, this one's for you. I can't handle it. You got to take care of this. Or back to you. I can't take care of this. Or, oh, you're so much better at this. I'm going to let you handle this one. No! To be a great assistant, you're a problem solver. You say, hey, John, here's the situation. I can handle it. I've got a couple of ideas. Just keep me, steer me in the right direction. Here's the challenge. Here's my suggestion. What do you think? That's what an agent loves. I can handle this. Just put me in the right direction. That's what they love. All right, number 7, track all results and all numbers. Okay, so somebody chime in some of the numbers that you guys keep track of right now. What are you guys keeping track of?
Lead conversion.
Okay, lead conversion is a great one. So how do you guys do that?
Keeping track of all.
Yeah. So are you doing that? Are you tracking every lead coming in, or do you have everybody has a different system? What are you doing?
I keep track of all the leads that come in and which buyer's agents I disperse them to, and then they have to give me a lead tracking sheet with what happened to all of them.
Okay. Good. And how does that help your team?
It holds our buyer's agents accountable, and it keeps track of the money that we're spending on lead generating and what's actually producing viable leads and what isn't.
Okay, good. It also tells you what advertising or marketing or campaigns are working when you get results, or what websites are working and that sort of thing, right?
Yeah.
Good, good. All right, what are some other numbers people are tracking, please?
Closing?
We track the number of closings we have every month.
Great. Are you tracking the sources of business with that too?
Yes.
Okay, good. So you're tracking closings. Now you're tracking buyer and seller and sources, right?
Right. I just work with a buyer's agent, so
okay.
I just track her closings and then how she was referred that buyer, if it came from a website marketing, or if it came from her lead generating, or if it was just a personal referral or somebody she met in the parking lot, or wherever it came from.
Great. Excellent. Okay, good. All right, we've got closings, we've got numbers, lead generation stuff. What else are people tracking?
Hi, I'm Maria from Tampa, Florida, here in Keller Williams.
Good, Maria.
We are actually tracking. We have a pipeline, and we do this weekly every Monday. We track all of our expenditures, dials, contacts, appointment sets, and appointments gone on.
Great. So you're tracking your dials, your contacts, appointments set, appointments gone on. Perfect. So you guys be writing these things down, because if you're not, tracking some of these numbers, we're going to do a whole session on tracking numbers. But I want you to be listening and going, okay, that's something I need to do. Okay, that makes sense. I need to do that. What else is someone tracking?
This is Elizabeth in Kansas City.
Yes, Elizabeth.
We track our average list price because that's something that we wanted to get higher. And so month over month we track how well we're doing that, and number of days on market.
Okay, good. Number of days on market. Okay, here's another number you should track. It's very similar and easy to do. Is your percentage of ask price to sale price. So, for example, we're running 99% of list price to sales price. And the agents in the MLS in San Diego County are running about 96 to 97%, 96.5. So when we're in a presentation, we've got competition. We can say this is what our asking price to list price to closing price is a 99% ratio. So basically, we're getting what the list price says. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So that's another great number to track, and that's easy to do. You just find out from your MLS what's the percentage, and then you look at, since you're tracking your price range and everything, then start tracking that, because that's going to be a key thing that might be very helpful for your agent to track that and then present that also in a pre-list package or at their presentation. Good. All right. What else? Somebody else. What else? What other numbers are you tracking?
Hi, this is Anjali from Portland, Oregon.
Great, Anjali.
We also track the commission year-to-date.
Yes, okay, good.
So, yeah, that kind of like month-to-month as well as year-to-date. We do that on like weekly basis.
Yeah, good, good. Okay, and so that's excellent, and obviously that's a no-brainer, and all of you should be doing that too. And then, all of this stuff ties in too, when you're tracking commissions, was it listing sold, was it a buyer sale, what was the source of business, and then, you can develop some pie charts coming along the way in an Excel spreadsheet, like what percentage was from referrals, what percentage was from past client, what percentage was from expired. You can track price reductions. You can track referrals from agents, referrals from past clients. So there's a lot of things to track that are all beneficial. Okay, somebody back there cooking dinner, stop doing that. All right, next one. All right, number 8, protect and improve the database. So put a big dollar sign next to that. The database is the only thing an agent has of value in that office. It's not the Lexus or the BMW or the Louis Vuitton bag. It's none of that stuff. It's the database. And we're going to talk more about that coming up, but I want you to know that if you are careful and you are putting in all the email addresses of every buyer and seller, of the husband and the wife, if you only have the husbands, get the wife, etc. Adopting the orphan client, the person who buys your listing and getting that information. We'll talk about that coming up. Number 9, all right, on time to work or early. Oh, it's not 15 minutes late. It's not 10 minutes late. And I know occasionally those things happen. And the reason that I give this point out is because most real estate agents cannot control anything in their world. They can't control buyers or sellers or closing dates. They can't control lenders. I mean, they can do a lot of great things, but they can't control the appraisers right now, that's for sure. Those guys are on their own, march to their own drum. So you have to know that they want to have some consistency in their life. And do they come to work on time or early? No. But there are so many things that they do at night or late. You know, like last night, I didn't get home till 8 o'clock. You know, no one on my team knows that, but, you know, I put in a long day yesterday. And so, you know, you have to know that their schedule is more flexible than yours, but they want you to work on time or early. And then number 10 is a critical one. And what they're looking for in number 10 is they want you to be a can-do person, a can-do person, a person that goes, oh, okay, you want me to do that? Okay, I can do that. All right, I'll get to work on that. I'll make that happen. They want you to be a can-do person. And, you know, positive attitude, can-do person, that's what they're looking for. That's what they want. All right? Okay. So with that said, you know, obviously I could add more and more to that list. It could be big. But that's not what I'm trying to do on this. I'm trying to just cover some really important things for you to think about, knowing what some of the calls are like that are coming up, knowing that there are certain reports and number tracking that make it absolutely important for you to be on top of, deadlines being so important, meticulous, bulletproof files, vacation proof is what I call it. If you leave, go on vacation, or you have a day or two that you need to take off, all the systems don't break down, and obviously ending up with the number one thing, a positive attitude. It is a sales environment, and nobody needs to see Sally sad face or Sam sad face or, you know, Gladys glum. Nobody wants that. Everybody wants a happy person in the office. So fake it, whether you like it or not, and what happens, it becomes standard. So when I walk in the office, do I feel like doing this every day? Heck no. But I walk in the office and I make a point of saying good morning to everyone. Hey, good morning. What do you got going on? Hey, great day. Okay, let's get to work. Oh, great. How are you today, Tony? How are you, Stephanie? So I make a point of saying good morning. And there are agents I know that walk in the office and they have tunnel vision and they don't even say good morning. If that's an agent that you might be working with, then you become the extrovert and say, hey, good morning, Bill. How are you today? And they go, good. Great. It's going to be a great day. Get a listing. Then you get back to work. That is a great assistant. All right. So with that said, great group. Thank you for being quiet. The agents misbehave so bad on these calls. So I appreciate today. So who's got the number one idea? Who are you? Advertise who you are and where you work, and share with us what you got today, because what happens, the idea that you heard, somebody didn't catch that for some reason. They were multitasking, or they were thinking about the previous idea, or maybe thinking about something else, not lunch, I hope, and so they missed it. So what's the number one idea someone got today? What's the number one idea?
Monica?
Yes.
This is Lynette from Cal Carter's team, Gulf Shores Live team in Orange Beach, Alabama.
Oh, Alabama. Great.
Right.
How are you today? All right. What'd you like today?
What I like today is the fact of you saying that the job description should be up and posted somewhere, because I feel like with that being posted so everybody can see, then that lets them know what I am doing all day long, because sometimes I feel like, oh, gosh, I'm so overwhelmed, and, maybe people are still darting into my office, interrupting me here and there, and if they saw maybe everything that I actually am doing, then maybe they wouldn't do that.
Exactly.
So if they saw my description, that would help.
Exactly.
So I got a lot out of that.
Thank you very much. Okay, so number one is post your job description. Now, let me share something with you. Most of you have these dollar stores where you live. My perfect thing is go to the dollar store. The frames are $1. Go buy a bunch of them and put everybody's job description in a frame and post it. Then it keeps everybody honest and knowing what you're doing, and it's just it's great to do that. Do that for the agent too. All right, good. All right, thank you for that. Who's got Miss Alabama? Who's got number 2, please?
Hi, Monica. This is Sarah with Keller Williams in Orlando.
Yes.
I got out of today's call to try and guard my agent's schedule in the morning more than I have done so in the past, so she can focus on her lead generating and...
Good. So what you need to do is never pass her a call unless it's somebody says, I want to list a property or buy a property. Never give her a call. Okay, that's number one. You handle them all. Number 2 is you say to her, what do I need to take from you right now and help you so that you can lead generate? Great.
Right.
Okay, good. So protect the agent's schedule. And then what's coming up, we're going to be talking about schedule. So now you're going to know their agent's schedule. We're going to build a schedule for them and for you. So thank you. That was great. Who's got number 3, please?
This is Elizabeth from New York.
Elizabeth from New York. You must be with Keller Williams in New York City, right?
Yeah, New York City.
Yeah, good for you. Okay, Elizabeth, what did you like today?
There's a lot I liked. A lot about the job description, which I think is important because it's easy to get caught up doing too many things.
Yep.
And about that, I had a question. In terms of open houses and the flyers needed for open houses, who tends to do those for you? The individual agent for their own open house, or do you have the assistant making all the flyers?
There's a lot of different things that you can do. Sometimes people just have a template, and the assistant will do that. And sometimes there are places in the country, I'm not sure it's New York, but the title companies, the title reps will put flyers and brochures together. So some of that can be farmed out. However, you as a great assistant would be the overseer of that. I always like to keep buyer agents out of any of that stuff. And the reason is they should go generate business, and they should not do any marketing or admin. Keep them away from all of that.
Okay.
Okay? All right,
yes.
Good one. Good. One more from someone, then we'll go on to the homework assignment. One more. One more idea you got today.
This is Lucy from Fort Worth, Texas.
Lucy from Fort Worth. Great. All right. What'd you like?
Stay positive. It lifts the whole team.
That's good, and I like your voice. You got a positive voice to begin with, Lucy.
Oh, life is good every day.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's what you got to do. You got to just showtime, fake it all day long. Just do it. That's great. All right, so we're going to end on that note. Be positive. All right, homework assignment. Create your job description. Look at the templates. Circle what you need to circle, and then put your job description together. Email me your job description. I'd love to look at it. It's monica@hellerteam.com. Happy to do it. Take advantage if you want. And then the tabs that you need for this, and then post your, let me give you another homework assignment. Post your job description and post your agents. And if you don't want to put it in a frame, fine. Then put it on a bulletin board. Post them. And then the tabs that you need, like I said to you before, you're going to have a tab that says, sample job descriptions. Now, sample job descriptions, and you can have a sample buyer agent job description, your sample agent job description, sample assistant job descriptions. And then you're going to have specific job descriptions. So listing coordinator job description, that could be its own tab. So you can break it out so that you can pull those up easily. Or buyer agent, you know, if you have Bill as a buyer agent, so it'd be Bill's job description where he's got it under a tab in your policy and procedures manual, plus he's signed off on it. All right, good. So this is how you build that manual again. All right, everyone. Any more last quick minute questions for me before I let you go and go have a fun rest of your day? Any quick questions? Okay. Thanks for your investment of time. I so appreciate that. Thank the agents for the investment, you know, financially, and I can't wait to talk to you next week. It'll be call number 6, and it'll be about the schedule. Won't that be exciting? Thanks, everybody. Go have some fun. We'll see you next week. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Monica.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.